So let's talk about The Wedding Planner with J-Lo and Matthew McConaughey, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary today. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to you as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2001 rom-com, The Wedding Planner, directed by Adam Shankman, starring Jennifer Lopez, along with Matthew McConaughey. The story was written by Michael Ellis and Pamela Falk. Also along for the ride are Bridget Wilson Sampras. Yes, that name's been changed. You know who Bridget Wilson I'm sure a lot of y'all know who Bridget Wilson is. She was from Billy Madison and House on a Hill remake. I am going to review another movie she's in, but it's a very rare movie. Stay tuned for that. Let's see. Justin Chambers, Alex Rocco, and Judy Greer. Well, I gotta say, this. I'm gonna say that this. Now, I'm just gonna have to. I usually ask this before I do my logo, but I'm gonna ask y'all for the wedding planner. As I'm seeing it's been dissed in my. Does it really deserve the hate? Not from where I stand anyway. You just brace yourselves, because I'm going to defend this movie. This movie did do pretty well despite the negative reaction from the critics. The film made 95 million worldwide. Well, close to it anyway. Anyway, let's see. Let's tell you now. The film tells the story of the most successful supplier of romance and glamour. And she knows all the tricks and rules, but she breaks the most important rule of all when she falls in love with a young man. Anyway, ambitious San Francisco wedding planner Mary Fiore is reintroduced to childhood acquaintance Massimo by her father Salvatore, who wants them to marry, but Mary declines. Hoping to persuade her boss Jerry to make her a partner at their company, Mary is hired to plan catering heiress Fran Donnelly's society wedding to long-term boyfriend Eddie. Well, suddenly, when Mary's shoe becomes stuck in a manhole cover, a man pulls her out of the way of a speeding dumpster. She manages to thank him before fainting. Well, waking up in the hospital, Mary meets her rescuer, pediatrician Steve Addison. Mary's colleague Penny persuades Steve to attend an outdoor movie with them, but makes up an excuse to leave the pair alone together. Mary and Steve dance, but are interrupted by a heavy downpour before they can smooch. At a dance lesson with a client, Mary encounters a friend who introduces her to her fiance Eddie, who happens to be, you guessed it, slight little spoiler if you haven't seen the movie, none other than Steve himself. Friend leaves them to dance together, and Mary angrily rebukes, or how the hell you pronounce it, rebukes Steve for leading her on behind Fran's back. And he explains that even though that his name's may not be A because it's kind of a different pronunciation of his last name, which is Edison. Oh boy, that's all she needed. Penny persuades Mary that her career is more important than her feelings, and to continue planning Fran and Steve's wedding. And Steve's colleague assures him that his connection with Mary is only due to pre-wedding nerves. So anyway, yeah, I gotta say, Well, when Mary's riding with Fran and Steve or A or what he'll answer the A or name. They're trying to find a perfect stuff in their way, and they find "I Honestly Love You" by Olivia Newton-John, which I found out was the special re-recorded version she did back in the late '90s, which I'm perfectly fine with that. I've heard the original version that's on there. It's definitely one of Miss John's classics. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, which this happens on a visit to a potential wedding venue in Napa Valley. Well, apparently, Mary's in for a rude awakening. Maximo appears and, to her horror, introduces himself as her fiance. Oh. While riding through the estate with Fran's parents, Mrs. Donnelly's singing Fran's Mary's horse, and Steve rescues Mary again and admonishes her for condemning his actions when she was also engaged. At home, Mary scolds her father for trying to set her up with Massimo, and Salvatore reveals that his marriage to her mother, which Mary has viewed as the perfect relationship, was arranged and only became a loving relationship months later, leaving Mary conflicted. Oh boy. While visiting another potential venue, Fran reveals she is going on a week-long business trip and leaves Mary and Steve to continue preparations. They apologize for their angry words and soon become friends. They run into Wendy and Keith, whom Mary reveals was once her fiance until she caught him cheating with Wendy, his secret high school girlfriend, on the night of their rehearsal dinner. Well, after getting drunk and struggling to get back into her apartment, Mary breaks down, lamenting that Keith is married and expecting a baby while she is alone and miserable. Steve manages to get Mary inside and comforts her as she sobers up. Insisting that Keith was a fool to pick Wendy over her, Steve leaves but quickly returns and confesses his feelings for Mary. She sadly replies that she respects Fran too much to let anything happen between them and sends Steve away. Yikes. Okay, to the final act and ending. You know the procedure. 5 seconds. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, continue on. After 5 seconds, here we go. Okay, you've been warned. Anyway, Fran confesses to Mary that she is unsure if she is still in love with Steve. Ignoring her own heart, Mary convinces Fran to continue with the wedding. At a birthday party, Massimo offers Mary a heartfelt proposal and she reluctantly accepts. The two couples prepare for their same-day weddings, leaving Penny to coordinate the Donnelly wedding. Mary goes to marry Massimo at the town hall. Steve asks Fran if they are doing the right thing, and she admits that she does not want to get married. They part as friends, Fran leaving to enjoy their honeymoon alone. Penny reveals Mary's marriage plans to Steve, and he rushes to stop her. At the town hall, Massimo and Mary prepare to marry, but her father stops the ceremony, realizing the wedding is not what Mary wants. And Mary, having given up on true love, insists that life is not a fairy tale and marrying Massimo is the right thing to do, but realizes he is not the one for her and leaves. Steve arrives to find Salvatore and Massimo, who reveals that he cannot go ahead with the wedding, knowing Mary was actually in love with Steve. So Steve reveals his feelings to Salvatore, who tells him to go and get her. So Steve and Massimo ride off on Massimo's scooter to the park, where another outdoor movie is starring. Steve finds Mary, asks her to dance, and in the end, yep, they kiss, smooch. End of story, my friends. So, what are my thoughts on the Wayne Planner? I gotta say, I love it. I guess despite the negative response, this is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I absolutely love this movie. And of course, this came out after a couple days after my 21st birthday. And of course, this was just released. This came out just 3 days after Jennifer released her sophomore album, J Lo, which, yeah, that came out before my 21st birthday. I do have them. I got it years later because I was hooked on some of the later songs since the first single from the album, Love Don't Cost a Thing, was featured in the end credits to the movie. Yeah. Anyway, the film, of course, I forgot to mention, was released by Columbia originally, along with Intermedia. Anyway, I will say this was really pretty good. Now, actually, they were now the characters of Mary and Steve, I've learned to my source, were originally supposed to be another Jennifer, J Love herself, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Brendan Fraser, but soon was replaced by Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., but they dropped out due to scheduling conflicts. So, henceforth, we got J Lo and Matthew McConaughey. Now, I actually like some of the spots they shot at the Golden Gate Park, specifically at the Music Concourse. Oh, and lots of other places. I gotta say, this film still did pretty well, actually. Anyway, now, actually, the Wayne Planner actually did come in at number one at the box office, and actually at the same time, J Lo also happened to debut at number one on the Billboard Hot 100. No, not the Hot 100. Oops, wrong chart. The Billboard Top 200 albums chart. I forgot. It slipped my mind. Hot 100. Yeah, that's singles chart. Whoops, my mistake. But even so, I loved the Wayne Planner. I don't care what the critics say. The heck with what they say. Anyway, J Lo was awesome, and I like Matthew McConaughey's performance. Bridget Wilson Sampras as Fran, very good. Justin Chambers as Massimo. He's really he's kind of funny in ways. Judy Greer as Penny, very good. Yeah, of course. I thought that, well, she looked familiar since I recalled seeing Judy a few years before this in the cult classic Jawbreaker, and then later on in 13 Going on 30. Look for a review of that coming up next month. Yeah, I'm going to plan and review that since I don't have it on my the first draft of February schedule, but I'm going to be changing it up. But anyway, the rest of the cast isn't too bad. Oh yeah, we also get an appearance from the late great Fred Willard in this. Yeah, plays Basil St. Mosley, the guy who, is at the dance deal, tells everyone to dance and what have you. Oh man, it's really that's another funny moment right before Mary gets kind of upset at Steve and what have you. Yeah, anyway, Wayne Player, I think it's just so much fun to watch. So, would I recommend the movie? I'd say yes. Don't mind what critics say, okay? They just don't know what they're talking about. This film is really good. And like I said, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. Mervyn Warren does the score. That's not too bad either. But even so, like any married couple, it has its ups and downs. I feel this has more ups than downs. But that's from my point of view. You don't have to take my word for it, okay? Thanks. Enough said. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the Weighing Planner? Please tell me in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel as well, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a review of... Oh boy, I hope y'all don't get upset at me for reviewing this movie, Grease 2. Thank you for watching, and if you like this, you might want to check out some of these other... Well... movies and what have you that I have done. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of the Tom Hanks classic Big from 1988, which that's a really good movie. Or if you'd like, go to the upper right-hand corner and see my review for, well, a recent pretty good, a recent romantic flick that I think is real good, and that being A Star Is Born 2018, which that's definitely pretty good. Or if you just want something else, go to the bottom left hand corner and see my reaction video to the Carpenters and their music, which has now reached 200 big views. In the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.